A cold opening, as they would say in the biz. Cold opening. What do you think about that, Tab? Cold opening. No intro. No intro.
Hello! Ah!
No intro. Ooh, you got it this time. All right. San Diego. Cascade.
Delta 1379, I didn't see a response from you, but expect the RNAV Zulu runway 10 left approach at Sizzle.
Sizzle. I can put the foot pedal away. Score. Settings. New button.
United 703, still getting carrier only, no voice.
Sorry about that. Let's try this. Requesting IFR to Seattle. To San Diego. We have Zulu at Portland.
United 703, hey, you figured it out. All right, your clearance is on request for number 1. Stand by.
Sounds good. Thanks. Yeah. Jeez. No more Boeing from me in a hot minute. And a hot minute it took. Okay.
Delta 1379, cross Sizzle at 5000 at Sizzle, cleared RNAV Zulu runway 10 left approach.
Good day, Aberdeen 60 Mile 260.
Last aircraft calling, could you say your call sign for me?
Sizzle.
Yes, Air Berlin 60 Mile.
Oh.
Air Berlin 6 Lima, Seattle
Berlin.
Center, welcome.
Seattle Center, United 27 Dana Tango with you, flight level 360.
United 279 Tango, Seattle Center, welcome.
Berlin Air. The Germans.
Bear Claw 66, no traffic observed between you and the field. Report IFR cancellation or missed approach to this frequency. And frequency change approved, good day.
Alright, report IFR cancellation and frequency change approved. Bear Claw 66 all.
Air Claw. This guy.
United 703, Seattle Center, I have clearance for you, advice ready to copy.
It's 703 is ready to copy.
And United 703, you're cleared to the San Diego International Airport via the Cascade 2 departure, Chisholm, then as filed. Maintain 7,000 departures with me, squawk 1565.
Clear to San Diego, Cascade 2, Chisholm, transition, maintaining 7,000 on the initial climb. Departures with you, squawking 1565 for United 703.
United 703, your readback is correct. Push and starts at your discretion. Contact me for taxi holding short of Tango. Expect runway 10 left at Echo for departure.
Okay, we'll call you for taxi. We'll be holding short of Tango, and we'll expect 10 left at Echo for United 703. Okay. If you thought that was a mouthful, it's because it was. Where's the Chisholm? Cascade 2.
Kronos 1-2, you're leaving my airspace to the south. Oakland Center's offline. Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved. So on. Alright, we'll see you next time. Thanks for the help, Kronos off.
Okay. San Diego localizer 27 Comics 2 Hulk.
Delta 310 gate, Delta 7 with Zulu, looking for clearance over to Los Angeles.
LA, baby.
Delta 310, clearance on request.
Okay, altitude set. Let's get the old cooker cooking.
Flight attendants, arm doors, and cross check.
Let's get the old cooker cooking.
Delta 310, you're cleared to the Los Angeles International Airport via the Mini 5 departure Hiscu transition, then as filed.
The Mini
Maintain
5.
7,000 departures with me, squawk 1564.
Clear to suit over to Los Angeles, Mini 5 departure, Hisky transition that is filed, 7,000 initially. Departure with you, squawk 1564.
Delta 310, your readback is correct. Contact me for push and start. You can expect runway 10 left at Echo for departure.
10 left at Echo for departure, thanks, Delta 310.
1565.
Center Bear Call
Have a good day,
66
Sharma
on the ground,
279
like
Air Flight Level 360.
2 at once. Who's the 360?
Huh?
Sharma 279 Air Flight Level 360.
Shamrock 279, Roger. Seattle Center, welcome. And the other one calling?
Bear Call 66, just like cancel IFR.
Bear Call 66, Roger, thank you. IFR cancellation
Air
received,
Claw.
time now 20230. Zulu. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Roger, thanks for the help. See ya.
We are ready.
Air Berlin 6 Lima, Seamok.
Short of Tango.
Mark 0.78.
Shamrock 279, Seamok.
Mach 0.84, Sharma 279.
And Shamrock 279 are maintain Mach 0.74 or less for traffic.
Mach 0.74, Sharma 279.
Delta 1379. Now let's see, Portland, there it is. Wind 120 at 6, runway 10 left, clear to land.
That's where we're at. I don't see him. Oh, there he is. I do see him.
Seattle Center, Delta 706 at Portland with Zulu, clearance to Boston.
Delta 706, Seattle Center, thanks for Zulu, your clearance done, request your number 1. Stand by.
706. We got a 703. We got a 706.
At Delta 706, you're cleared to the Boston Logan International Airport via the Lava 6 departure, Pendleton transition, then as filed. Maintain 7,000. Departures with me, squawk 7444.
Okay, clear to the Boston Airport by the Lava 6 departure, Pendleton transition as filed. Maintain 7,000. Departures with you, squawk 7444, Delta 706.
At Delta 706, rebank is correct. Call for push. Expect 10 left at Echo for departure.
Call for push 10 left at Echo, thanks, Delta 706. And Deputy 60 Lima, which level 76?
Is it Air Berlin 6 Lima? Well, you're 290 miles from the airport, but at this point in time, the winds are looking east, so either 10 left or 10 right.
Nice. They call that puppy down. I feel like it's blurring.
Delta 1379, welcome to beautiful downtown Portland. Exit left when able. Safe parking request.
Huh? Okay. We're ready.
And I said left. I meant right. Exit right when able. Please don't turn left. There's a river over there.
True. He's not wrong about that.
Air Canada 520, you're leaving my airspace to the west. Oakland Oceanic is offline. Squawk 2000, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
Okay, 122.8, squawking 2000 for Air Canada 520. Thank you, sir. We'll see you next time.
See you.
Okay. United 703 holding short of Tango, ready for taxi.
United 703, runway 10 left at Echo, taxi via Echo to Echo.
Echo 2 to Echo for United 703. Straight ahead. I don't know if we're going to have time for this safety briefing. Not enough time for safety.
Delta 310, we're ready for push.
Delta 310, push onto Kilo is approved, face west.
Push on the Kilo, face west for Delta 310.
What's the temperature out? 18. Okay.
Delta 1379, roger, gate Delta 10, taxi via Alpha, and Alpha 5, Kilo to the ramp. Caution a 737 pushing back a little further west on the onto Kilo.
Traffic is building.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Delta 1379, I goofed. I forgot that the Delta gates are inside the horseshoe. Let's amend that taxi. Continue straight on Alpha, left on Tango into the horseshoe. That way you avoid the 737 on Kilo.
Okay.
United 703, runway 10 left at Echo, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 10 left at Echo, United 7.
Right off the Seattle Center, kind of 1243, climbing to Fireball 16,000 feet.
Air Canada 1243, Seattle Center, welcome. Climb and maintain level 310.
Climbing 310, I Canada 1243, thank you.
Showtime.
Shamrock 279er, thanks for spacing out a little bit. You maintain Mach 0.78 or less.
Mach 0.78, Shamrock 279er.
Maintain all the way up flight level 370, clear direct to Holly.
All the way up 370 and direct. Can you repeat the direct?
That's direct Polly, Papa, Alpha, Whiskey, Lima, India.
Direct Polly for United 73. 360. Polly.
Center United 279 Tango, requesting please step out for a couple minutes.
United 279 Tango, roger, that's approved. Report back.
I'll report back, United 279 Tango, thanks.
Polly.
Delta 310, we're short 10 left at Echo.
Is
Delta
Paul-
310, runway 10 left at Echo, clear for takeoff.
Nice.
Clear for takeoff, runway 10 left, thanks, Delta 310.
That's that kid behind me. Once we get out of these clouds, it should be sunny skies the whole way. Right? 370. There we go. We got out of there just in time. How do I change this photo? This is not correct. What? No. There we go. Yeah, he's going to LA, that's right.
Delta 310, your radar contact, stay altitude thanks.
Oh, he's up.
Delta 310, we're just through 2000.
Delta 310, roger, climb maintain 15,000, I'll have higher for you here soon.
Up to 15,000 for Delta 310, thanks.
How are we doing on the climb? Rainbow. Easy.
United 279 Tango is back.
United 279 Tango, roger, welcome back.
Now we're cutting out of it.
Center, good evening. Air Canada 8656, passing 160, climbing to 390.
Air Canada 8656, Seattle Center, welcome. Climb and maintain flight level 390.
390, Air Canada 8656.
Canada 1243, sorry, contact woman out, cockpit.
Air Canada 1243, that's approved, report back.
Let's see, who's Denver's working? Okay. Kano, we've been there before. before. We've flown into, what is it? Or did we fly out of Lagos? I think we flew out of Lagos. Yeah, we've been there before. That was a good flight.
Delta 310, climb and maintain flight level 350, clear
Gateway
direct
to Vietnam. Oh, that's coming up.
Up to 350, direct Husky,
The
Delta 310.
Singapore shuttle. That's a decent route right there. You could do like an Iceland. Nah.
And the 1243 to point back.
I wonder how that would work.
Air Canada 1243, roger, welcome back.
Hawaii is cooking. Okay, alright, we got some options, some decent options.
Seattle Center, good afternoon. American 124, looking to pick up IFR clearance from Seattle over to San Diego with information India.
Oh, another
American 124,
Seattle.
thanks for
San
India.
Diego.
Your clearance is on request, stand by.
Not Portland, that's a longer flight. From border to border, pretty much. That's a long one. That's the old West Coast run. What is the TED Airlines? Yeah. TED. Call sign United. Oh, so it was TED? Or it was just their regional carrier. But they just flew as TED. Or as United. Oh, that's no fun. So we're technically doing things historically accurate. But I was hoping that it was actually like like a Republic Airlines kind of thing.
Seattle Center, good afternoon. You got Clipper 456 on the ground in Astoria, IFR Spokane.
Clipper 456, Seattle Center. Hello again. Let's see, your clearance is on request. Your number 2, stand by.
Copy number 2 again.
And American 124, I have clearance for you. Advise ready to copy.
Ready to copy, sir.
American 124, you're cleared to the San Diego International Airport via the SUMA 2 departure. SUMA then as filed. Climb via the CITIX at maintain 7,000. Departures with me, squawk 2277.
I'm cleared over to San Diego via the SUMA 2, then SUMA. We're going to climb via the CITIX at maintain 7,000. Frequency is going to be with you in 2277 in the box for American 124.
American 124, your readback is correct. Push and start your discretion. Contact me for taxi holding short of Bravo. You can expect 16 left for departure.
Seattle Center, FedEx Flight 27 Kilo is with you at 16,000.
One short of Bravo, and we'll expect 16 left for American 124.
Perfect, thanks. And FedEx 527 Kilo, Seattle Center. Hello and welcome. Climb and maintain flight level 370.
Climb and maintain flight level 370, FedEx Flight 27 Kilo.
Bingo. Now we got the landing rate, which is going to be ultra greasy, and stats, flight stats. Outstanding.
279 Tango, descend via the Hood 4 arrival, Portland landing east, Portland altimeter 2971.
Could you repeat the arrival for the United 279 Tango?
United 279 Tango, descend via the Hood 4 arrival.
Descend via the Hood 4 arrival, Portland landing east, 207 market altimeter, United 279 Tango.
San Diego is busy right now. I'm down with that. Whoa. Little mountains. Now we're talking. That's pretty cool. Snow already. Good thing we got our heater on. Do the old maneuver here.
At Clipper 456, Seattle Center, I've got clearance for you, advisory to copy.
Ready to copy.
At Clipper 456, you're cleared to the Spokane Airport.
That's how you do it right there.
303 departure, radar vectors battleground, then as filed. I maintain 6,000. Departure's going to be with me, squawk 5105.
Alright, we're cleared to the Compton Airport via the Astoria 3 departure. Radar vectors battleground, then as filed. We'll climb maintain 6,000. We'll stay with you on the frequency, and we'll squawk 5105, Clipper 456.
Clipper 456, your readback is correct. Hold for release. Advise number 1 for departure on this frequency. Frequency change groups.
Alright, we'll hold for release and we'll advise when we're ready to go. Clipper 456.
Seattle Center, Delta 706 with Zulu, request push on a kilo.
Delta 706, push on to
Oh,
kilo, is
he's
approved,
moving.
face west.
Face west
He's
on a
getting
kilo,
going.
Delta 706.
Holly.
Air Berlin 6 Lima, descend via the Hood 4 arrival. Portland landing east, altimeter 2971.
Hood 4 arrival, Portland landing east and altimeter 2741 for Air Berlin 6 Lima.
Air Canada 1243, descend via the Crater 2 arrival, Portland landing east, altimeter 2971.
Altimeter 2971, descending by the Crater 2 arrival. What was the... Sorry, yeah, descend via the Crater 2 arrival. Do you have a room for us? Back on the 12 with
Air Canada 1243, we're landing east, so it's either going to be 10 left or 10 right. I've got 6 of you coming into Portland all at the same time, so we're going to get creative.
Air Canada 1243, stand by the correct to arrival, landing either 01 left or right.
Air Canada 8656, hold at 300, and your net will make it high before I need to send you.
We'll hold 300, Air Canada 8656.
Do we need the at Lindy? They put that in there? I think they do, right? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Ooh. Almost had it.
Seattle Center, Alaska 2249, can I get a radio check?
Alaska 2249, you're 5x5.
I don't even think it can do that. I think it only is possible at 3.3.
Delta 706, we're ready for taxi.
God, it's just too close to mine.
706, runway 10 left at Echo, taxi via Kilo Echo.
10 left at Echo, via Kilo Echo, Delta 706.
Seattle Center, FedEx Flight 27 Kilo is requesting descent via bow to arrival.
FedEx 527 Kilo, roger, descend via the crater to arrival, Portland landing east, altimeter 2971.
Descent via crater to arrival to, what runway is it again, sir?
Well, Portland's landing east, so it's either going to be runway 10 left or 10 right. I don't know yet. I have 6 people flying into Portland. You're all showing up at the same time, so it's going to get interesting.
Thank you, sir. Apologies. Descend via crater to arrival, FedEx Flight 27 Kilo.
Air Canada 8656, descend via the crater to arrival, Portland landing east, altimeter 2971.
Wow.
Descend via the crater to arrival and Portland and East Air Canada 8656.
Yeah, he does. Canadian invasion. The Canadian invasion.
Seattle, Alaska.
We're all tucked in.
Seattle,
We're cruising now.
Center, Alaska 2249, requesting taxi, or requesting IFR clearance to Las Vegas with information India.
Vegas?
Alaska 2249, you are cleared to the Las Vegas International Airport via the Suma 2 departure, Lakeview transition, then as filed. Climb via the Civic at maintain 7000, departures with me, squawk 3573.
Seattle to Oscar 2249 is cleared to Las Vegas. Cinema 2 departure, Lakeview transition. Climb maintain 7,000. Frequency, departure frequency is view. I'm squawking 3573.
Alaska 2249, your readback is correct. Push and start your discretion. Contact me for taxi holding short of Bravo. Expect 16 left for departure.
Going to contact, push and start at my discretion. Contact you for taxi holding short of Bravo for 16 left. Alaska 2249.
Delta 706, runway 10 left at Echo, clear for takeoff.
10 left at Echo, clear for takeoff, Delta 706.
Shamrock 279 requesting descent.
Shamrock 279 descend via Hood 4 arrival, Portland landing east, altimeter 2971.
Descend via the Hood 4 arrival, landing east, altimeter 2971, Shamrock 279.
Now we're getting our speed up.
Delta 310, I got a disconnect. Thanks for the service. Have a great rest of your day.
What?
Delta 310, roger. Sorry to hear that, and then we'll see you next time. See you.
See you.
Isn't that the kid that was behind us going to LA? Damn, bro. That's a good flight. That's a damn good flight. That's too bad. But so is San Diego. That's a good one. All right, I think we've hit our speed. Damn near it. Will we hit 82? I don't know.
Air Canada 1243, expect vectors for the ILS runway 10 right approach.
Expecting vectors for 10 right, can do 12
Delta 706, radar contact, say altitude.
Passing 1,800, Delta 706.
Delta 706, roger, climb, maintain 15, 15,000, I'll up higher for you here in just a moment.
Hey, up to 15,000, Delta 706, thanks.
Yeah, we're good now. Got our speed. Now we're cooking.
Look, I
You
only
look.
ask for...
let's see, where am I? Here we go.
Good afternoon, November 7213, Romeo, request IFR, Portland, Zulu.
November 7213 Romeo, Seattle Center, your clearance is on request, your number 1, standby.
Custom poly mailers has never been easier or faster. Our custom poly mailers
Seattle Center, WestJet 1544, flight 340.
WestJet 1544, Seattle Center, welcome.
Allowing you to ship t-shirts, product.
Crew Apollo 11 was
Seattle Center, Clipper 456, 126, Baltimore release.
landing men on the moon.
United 279
NASA,
Tango,
the
expect
space
the
agency
RNAV Zulu,
charged with
runway
making
10 left
possible,
at Sizzle.
had existed for little more than
Sizzle.
a decade.
Again,
Apollo 11 was the first of 6 successful moon
United
missions.
279er Tango, expect the RNAV Zulu, runway 10 left approach at Sizzle.
With remarkable spin-offs.
This is the RNAV 10 left approach at Sizzle.
I like that. Sizzle.
This is the
Clipper
story of
456,
Cold
release
War
for departure,
paranoia
time now
and
2059
incredible
Zulu, clearance void if not
paid
off in
off.
5 minutes, if not off
In
in
less than
10
9
minutes,
years,
advise
the
the
United
frequency of
States
intention.
went from space
Frequency
amateur
change approved.
to technological hyperpower.
Alright, off ground in 5 minutes. If not off in 10 minutes, we'll contact you. Clipper 456, we'll contact you airborne. See you in a second.
To the moon.
In 1950s America, life was good.
Yeah.
The country's vast productive power had switched from making tanks, ships, and aircraft during the Second World War to cars and refrigerators.
Yeah.
Heads up 706,
The United States could dominate the world in a responsible, capitalist sort of way.
Coca-Cola.
America had emerged from the Second World War as the unchallenged nuclear-armed superpower.
Damn.
But there was a problem. The Soviet Union had finished the war with a giant battle-hardened army, and the country soon had its own nuclear weapons, becoming the world's second superpower. Its communist ideology, calling for international revolution, was a direct threat to the West.
Air Canada 8656, you can also expect vectors to the ILS runway 10 right approach.
Expect 10
Both the
right
Soviet
approach
Union and the
for
United States had been working to
Canada
extend their nuclear strike capabilities by developing missile technology. Here, the Soviets were at a disadvantage. Their primitive warheads were big and cumbersome. They had to design rockets capable of lifting much heavier loads.
True.
But in October 1957, the Soviets surprised everyone. The heavy-lift R-7 rocket had sent Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, into orbit. The 83-kilogram sphere was equipped with nothing more than a beeping radio transmitter. 2 days later, the Soviets tested a giant thermonuclear bomb, and America could not help but link the two events.
Attention aircraft inbound to Portland, information Alpha now current, Portland altimeter 2972.
We fear this.
In December
What did she
1957,
just say?
America was preparing for its first satellite launch. A Vanguard rocket was to boost a tiny 1-kilogram payload to orbit.
1 kilogram?
Coast to coast, citizens were watching.
Then it blew up. Nice.
It was an intense humiliation for the United States. Just days later, a Soviet delegate to the UN asked whether America would like aid earmarked for underdeveloped countries.
Jesus.
President Eisenhower had wanted a non-military rocket to carry his nation's first satellite. But the Redstone missile developed for the Army by Wernher von Braun was given the directive to salvage national pride with a second attempt. They would use the Juno 1.
1968, free men everywhere lifted their gaze to Freedom's satellite.
Air Berlin 6 Lima, you can also expect the RNAV Zulu runway 10 left at Sizzle.
Later that same year, the Eisenhower administration established NASA to coordinate the country's space efforts. Soon after, NASA recruited its first 7 astronauts. They were all test pilots. At this time, in 1959, the United States had attempted 20 satellite launches. Only 8 had been successful. In 1961,
Air Canada 1243, turn right, heading 280 vectors to final.
His name was Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin. He would become the first cosmonaut. On the morning of April the 12th, Gagarin was strapped into Vostok 1. It carried air and food for 10 days. If its re-entry rockets failed, Gagarin could last until his craft's orbit decayed naturally. In 108 minutes, Vostok 1 completed one orbit and landed safely back in the Soviet Union. Three weeks later, Alan Shepard was preparing to become the first American in
your
space
radar contact, climb and maintain level 190.
Before dawn on May the 5th, Shepard was delivered to the launch site 2 hours before the scheduled liftoff. This would be the first manned flight of the Redstone launcher, but the Redstone did not have the power to reach orbit.
Air Canada 518, Seattle Center.
This would be a
good afternoon. Recycle transponders clock 3067.
In the spirit of the Cold War, Shepard had called his Mercury capsule Freedom 7. There were weather delays, and Shepard had been strapped into his seat
Air Canada
for 3 hours before the
1243,
flight
turn
started.
left now and 190.
Lebanon 190, Air Canada 1243.
United 279 Tango, cross Sizzle at 5000 at Sizzle, cleared RNAV Zulu, runway 10 left approach.
Freedom 7 took him to a height of 187 kilometers, ending 15 minutes later in the Atlantic, where the capsule was picked up by a waiting aircraft carrier. It was successful, but compared to Gagarin's orbital flight, it was a poor second. Then, after another 3 weeks, there was a further development.
I believe that this nation should
Air Canada 8656, descend maintaining 4000, turn right heading 280.
Out of landing a man on the moon and returning him
Descend maintain 4000, right 280, Air Canada 8652.
When President Kennedy made this speech, his country had only successfully launched 12 satellites. The US had made a further 16 attempts, which had all failed.
Air Canada 1243, turn left now, heading 130, intercept runway 10 right, localizer.
Still having problems.
130, intercept localizer, 1242.
But a new fast-track program, under the direction of German engineer Dr.
Remember 7213 Romeo, I apologize. I've got 6 planes all coming into Portland all at the same time. I promise I'll get to you. Give me like 3 minutes.
Was an attempt to surpass the Russians' heavy lift capability. It would use a cluster of narrow tanks that could easily be fabricated using the tooling developed for the country's existing rocket fleet. It would also cluster 8 rocket engines to deliver the required thrust. The engine used was the
Fred Smith here told us the B&H
Sup,
photo
Fred?
helped change his life. Fred, tell us your story.
H-1. It was a direct descendant
thanks,
of the
Fred.
engine that powered Germany's V-2 rocket. After the Second World War, Wernher von Braun and some of his team of rocket designers had surrendered to the American forces. With them came hardware and extensive drawings. Tests began in New Mexico using modified V-2s. Blueprints for the V2's engine were given to North American Aviation, who implemented proposed improvements mentioned
Air
in
Canada
the Nazi
8656,
documentation.
turn left, heading 190.
Left heading 190, Canada 86.
A spin-off company, Rocketdyne, handled the work and are still making rocket engines today. In developing the Saturn I, there was a change in the approach of the engineers. They were keen to avoid the high rates of failure that had occurred with other rockets. This meant that all components would now be tested exhaustively
Seattle Center,
before
Alaska,
undertaking
2249, holding short of Bravo, ready for taxi.
This included the
Alaska
H1 engine,
2249, runway
which was
16 left,
required to
taxi
deliver
Bravo, Charlie.
99%
Taxi
reliability.
16 left via Bravo, Charlie, Alaska 2249.
Finally, in October 1961, the first Saturn was ready for flight testing. It was a giant first stage, with a dummy second stage and nose cone.
1100, second hand at 320.
As it sat on the pad taking fuel,
40 miles
technicians
east
were
of
methodically
Mobile.
checking the rocket's subsystems. This was
Alaska aircraft
time-consuming
calling,
and would later be
signal
monitored by computer.
Pacific 1100.
High-speed film cameras were focused at critical areas of the pad
Pacific
launcher
1100,
interface, a technique
ident.
that continues to this day.
Pacific 100.
The first test of a new rocket design was never expected to go well, but the Saturn I performed flawlessly.
Pacific 1100, radar contact at 95
It
miles
was a small step
southeast of the
towards
Pendleton
President
Bureau.
Kennedy's goal of landing a man on the moon. Although Congress was allocating huge sums for what was now called Project Apollo, NASA still had no clear
FedEx
idea
527
how
kilo,
they could
descend
do it.
maintain 4,000, turn right, flighting 280.
There were two competing approaches.
Set everything
Direct descent,
40,000 and
where astronauts
what's
would
the
ride a
heading,
huge
sir?
craft directly to the moon,
Right
land
turn
there,
heading
then
280.
turn,
Right to 280,
or
FedEx by
Earth
Pacific.
Rendezvous, where two rockets would launch separate
American
paths into Earth
124, ready
orbit,
for taxi
which would
164
link
Bravo.
up and then fly to the moon and
American
land.
124, runway 16 left,
There were
taxi to
various
Bravo,
concepts for
Charlie.
a spacecraft that would fly
Right over
from the
16
Earth
left
to the
field,
moon,
Bravo, that's Charlie.
land,
American
and then
124.
return. All
United 279 Tango, wind
Both of these approaches would require a
1708, runway
rocket
10
of
left,
huge
clear land.
proportions, and designs for
Quick
the
line,
giant
to the left,
Nova
United
were studied.
2796.
Berlin 6 Lima, cross Sizzle at 5,000 at Sizzle,
There
cleared
was a
RNAV
third
Zulu,
method
runway 10
proposed,
left
which
approach.
required a rendezvous in
To the
lunar
left,
orbit.
5,000 feet and
It
to
called for a
rotate
dedicated
out of
lunar
10
lander
left,
which could be
everything
discarded
is
after it served its purpose.
Air Canada 8656,
Langley
descend to
engineer
maintain
John
3,000,
Hubble was
turn left,
convinced
heading
that this was the
130,
only way
intercept
to
runway
get to the
10 right,
moon
localizer.
within President Kennedy's 1969
Turn left
deadline.
130, descend 3000 for the localizer, Air Canada 85.
In July 1961, Gus Grissom,
Shamrock 279, if I haven't given it to you already, you can expect the RNAV
with
Zulu,
another
runway 10
15-minute
left at Sizzle.
suborbital flight.
Next RNAV
At
Zulu,
this
10
stage,
left
two
at
craft
Sizzle, Shamrock
rendezvousing
279.
in orbit was seen as a tremendous challenge.
Center Seattle Control,
Rendezvous in lunar orbit was seen as madness, and Hubolt's
Air
lunar
Canada
orbit
518, that is
rendezvous
my
was
apologies. I've got
dismissed.
a little bit of a cluster going on at Portland. I'm sorry, give me 2 seconds, sir.
But Hubolt and an informal group working at Langley had been studying the problems associated with orbital rendezvous since the 1950s, and they understood the mathematics very well. Frustrated at having the lunar orbit rendezvous plan blocked from access to higher management, he wrote a strongly worded letter to the NASA administrator.
Air Canada 1243, wind 1708, runway 10 right, clear land.
LOR.
10
He
right,
insisted
clear to land, I
that
can't
a man
halfway through.
could be put on the moon without the need for NOVA. With the LOR concept now in the open, the theory and the calculations were scrutinized closely. And while the idea was still resisted, the plan was sound. Finally, when Werner von Braun became convinced, lunar orbit rendezvous was adopted. In August 1961, Germán Tito was preparing
United
to become
279
Russia's
Tango
second
Rush, do you have a
cosmonaut.
gate request today?
At 25, he remains the youngest person to fly in space.
Stand by for Could we take Charlie 5 for
His flight in Vostok 2 made
United
17
279
orbits.
Tango, gate
With Tito
Charlie 5,
remaining aloft
taxi
for more than a
via
day.
Alpha,
He was the first man to eat
Echo,
in space,
Tango
the
to the
first
ramp.
man to sleep in space,
and the first man to suffer from space sickness.
Tango, connected 279 Tango, thank you.
NASA were resigned to their second ranking in what had become known as the space
Air
race.
Canada 518, my apologies, contact
With
Vancouver
the newest
Center now,
version of the Atlas booster,
133.7.
they were closing the gap.
1337,
The unmanned flight went well, but they were still worried.
November 667
To the humiliation of the astronaut
Renton
corps,
parking
June
23,
81,
looking
later
for
called
clearance
Enos,
to
would be the
Kelowna as
first to
filed.
fly on the Atlas.
Bonanza 667, Seattle Center, good afternoon. Your clearance is on request for number 2, it might be a minute. Stand by.
There were some small problems during this flight, but Enos returned safely, paving the way for NASA's first manned orbital flight. In February 1962, John Glenn was to be the first American
Johnny!
to go into orbit in a capsule he had named Friendship 7.
Seattle Center, Alaska, 2249, wind short.
The American people were taking their country's role in the space race
Alaska
very
2249,
seriously.
runway 16 left, clear
Glenn's
for takeoff.
flight was an opportunity for the
Clear
U.S.
for
to
takeoff,
salvage
16
some
Alaska,
pride.
2249.
John Glenn completed 3 orbits
WestJet
and returned to an
1544,
Atlantic
descend via
splashdown
the
without
Glacier
incident.
2 arrival. Seattle landing south, Seattle altimeter
As
2965.
development continued
And
successfully
via the
on the
Glacier 2
Saturn
landing
booster,
south, WestJet
and the Mercury
1544.
program began more ambitious missions, NASA was getting a clearer view of its
United
path to the
703,
moon.
you're leaving my airspace to the south. Oakland Center's offline. Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved.
A new group
Over to
of
Unicon for United
astronauts was
Sanofi. Thanks, good
recruited,
day.
with names like Neil Armstrong, John Young,
All you guys waiting
and
on
James
clearance.
Lovell.
I'm so
And the
appreciative of your
be right back.
patience. Thank you very
Rendezvous
much.
plan meant that
We're
a new
almost there.
program would be implemented before Project Apollo.
FedEx 527 kilo, turn left now 190.
Originally called Mercury 2,
Left
the
190,
program
FedEx
eventually
527.
emerged as Project Gemini. A larger version of the Mercury capsule that would carry 2 astronauts was rapidly designed.
Center American 124,
It
wind
featured
short 16
ejector
left.
seats like a jet fighter, and it would be boosted to orbit atop a refinement of the Titan II missile originally intended to carry a nuclear warhead. Training for the 2-man missions began ahead of a tightly packed schedule of launches. Additional Mercury missions were scrapped. There were very specific objectives laid down for the Gemini program. Orbital rendezvous had to be mastered.
Air Canada
and docking with a target
8656,
vehicle
runway
had to become
10
routine.
right, clear to land.
Planners also knew that any trip to the moon would involve
10 right,
leaving
clear
a
to land, Air
spacecraft
Canada,
and
80.
surviving.
Wherever you go, bring all your work with you.
Air Canada 1243, exit
Remarkable.
left on
Keeps
Echo.
all your
Taxi
handwritten
parking via
notes and
Tango.
documents perfectly organized. Create your own personal customized workspace with practically unlimited folders,
Air Berlin 6
notebooks,
Lima, did you grab that RNAV or
and
do I need to
pages.
vector you?
Find exactly what you need when you need it.
Berlin 6
With quick search,
Air Berlin 6 Lima, Roger, flight present, heading to center, maintain 3000.
tags,
Heading defense 3000, heading 3 kilo.
and an easy-to-use interface.
Seattle Center,
A
Alaska
complete
543,
system
flight
for
level
your notes
360.
and documents. Even accessible from your
Alaska
phone.
543,
and
Seattle Center, good afternoon.
all your work
Squawk
finally
IDAN.
organized.
Hi, Dan, Alaska 543.
Remarkable.
FedEx 527 kilo, turn left heading 140.
Left to 140, FedEx Flight Pacific at
Alaska 543, your radar contact 88 miles south of the Klamath Falls. You are welcome. Berlin 6 Lima, turn left heading 190.
Left.
Berlin 6 Lima, turn left heading 190.
In the vacuum of space in a pressure suit.
Shamrock 279er at Sizzle, cleared RNAV Zulu, runway 10 left approach.
New infrastructure was built. At Cape Canaveral, a giant vehicle assembly building for the coming Saturn family of rockets was commenced. In Alabama, a captive rocket test facility was built, and there were new engine test stands constructed in Mississippi.
United 279 Tango, Roger, turn left Alpha 5, kilo to the ramp.
At the new Manned Spacecraft Center in Houston, Texas, a new mission control hub was constructed. It would monitor every
Air Berlin
detail
6
of
Lima,
every
continue
mission.
your left turn Heading 130, intercept the runway 10 left to localizer.
America's space efforts. It was September 1962, before a crowd at the stadium of Rice University in Houston.
The leading space city gives such a warm welcome to our President of the United States.
FedEx 527 Kilo, turn left heading 070.
Left to 070, FedEx 527 Kilo.
We choose to go to the moon.
All right.
We choose to go to the
Shamrock
moon.
279er, cancel approach clearance, flight present heading, descend to maintain 3000.
Present heading, descend maintain 3000, Shamrock 279er.
From Seaview. Fairwings 194, descend via Angel 4, arrival LA.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too.
Though the American people were largely on side with the country's space goals, Kennedy understood that the huge expenditures now being made could easily lead to an erosion of the national support. But in little more than 12 months, when the president returned to Texas, he was assassinated. Lyndon Johnson was now the president. He strengthened his position in 1964 with a landslide win in the presidential election, and under his leadership, America's space objectives remained unchanged. In August 1962, the Soviet Union had set another space first. Vostok 3 and Vostok 4 orbited at the same time. NASA felt the Russians were already working towards orbital rendezvous. In June 1963, another cosmonaut was preparing for another first.
Hotel Tango Golf Whiskey. What was your destination one more time?
Valentina Tereshkova would be the first woman to go into orbit.
Roger. Yeah, we're just planning to go down over the top of that.
In October 1964, Vladimir Komarov, the commander, flight engineer Konstantin Feoktistov, and medical specialist Boris Yegorov flew to orbit on a new spacecraft, Voskhod 1, and they wore normal clothing, not spacesuits. To NASA, it seemed that the Russians were starting their own equivalent of the three-man Apollo program. Towards the end of 1964, cosmonaut Alexei Leonov began training with a new piece of equipment. His Voskhod capsule would be fitted with a collapsible canvas airlock that would let him leave the craft. The Voskhod capsule's electronics used thermionic valves, which relied on the ambient air to dissipate their heat, so the capsule could not be depressurized. March 1965, Alexei Leonov on Voskhod 2.
This is hardcore.
Became the first person to
hardcore,
leave his capsule
like
and float freely in space.
Russian old school music, and then Pitbull. That's good. What up, Yazoo? That was funny. Nope, Pitbull.
Did not emerge until after the fall of the Soviet Union. Once outside, Leonov's spacesuit swelled like a balloon.
How we doing?
Him too large to re-enter the airlock. Only by
Also, your first time chatting. First time chatter, hell yeah. Yeah, we're doing good. We're flying to San Diego. We are flying to San Diego. via Portland.
The Gemini spacecraft was a huge advance in capsule design.
And we're kind of over. Where are we?
Gus Grissom had been involved in the capsule's development and was
We're
responsible
still a little
for
north
the
of San Francisco.
handled aircraft controls. Like the Mercury capsule,
We're
it had
chilling.
corrugated
How you
titanium
doing?
skin, but its life support
American
systems and power
1766,
were housed in
descend
a
via
separate
Lucky
module
1
that was
arrival,
discarded
Lemberg
before
altimeter
re-entry.
2983.
The astronauts had separate hatches and sat in ejector seats.
Cruising.
Importantly, these hatches could be reopened and closed in space to allow for spacewalks.
8320, level 320.
The first manned Gemini flight, Gemini 3, blasted off in July
American 535, Salt Lake
1965.
Center offline radar service.
Oh yeah, Yazoo. I appreciate that. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. I appreciate that though.
3 orbits and 5 hours later, their craft landed in the Atlantic, just west of the Bahamas, 84 kilometers short of the intended target.
Southwest 4087, fly heading 360, descend and maintain
Gemini 3
4,000.
had been the first
We're just chilling.
to change its orbit.
You know what I mean?
Vital development toward NASA's short-term goal of orbital rendezvous.
And Southwest 1402.
Grissom and Young's flight
Yeah,
had
those
been a
robes
marvelous
look
American
sick.
space effort, and they were treated as heroes. Less than a week after their return, 2 astronauts were given a ticker-tape parade through the streets of New York. People were now taking the idea of a moon landing seriously. At the White House, the astronauts met with President Johnson.
Nice.
In parallel with the Gemini program, hardware for the Apollo missions continued development. The final configuration of the Apollo spacecraft had been decided, and mock-ups were fabricated for use in testing other parts of the Apollo system.
Maintain level 340.
Yo.
Previous spacecraft. The
Yeah,
designers
Zoo,
had
thank you.
opted to
Thanks for the
return to
bits, dude.
use of an escape tower,
Thank you.
similar to the Mercury capsule, to lift the crew clear in an emergency.
Hope you're enjoying things. Hope you're having a good Monday.
A special launcher known as Little Joe 2 was developed to test the escape system under simulated
Yo.
During one trial,
Double
a
thank you,
real problem
Yazoo.
occurred,
Thank you.
and the escape tower
Thank you for the 95 biddies, man.
Dummy
Thanks,
capsules
Yazoo.
were dropped from aircraft to iron out problems with the landing parachutes.
You a flyer as well, Yazoo?
Southwest 1402, contact Albuquerque.
Hello,
Because the
virtual
Apollo missions
pilot,
were all splashed
perhaps?
down in the ocean, the capsule was tested in water. There was always a trade-off between weight and strength, and sometimes the engineers had to go back to the drawing board.
Have a good day and thank you for your help.
No problem.
Testing of the new Saturn rocket and its refinement, the Saturn 1B, was going well with no test flight failures.
Sounds good, Yazoo. We stream again tomorrow.
On the morning of June 3rd,
Tomorrow evening.
1965,
So a little later than
was
today.
prepared.
Today was kind of just a spur of the moment, but tomorrow evening we'll be back on
Be their first
for a couple hours.
This would be the first mission controlled from the new Integrated Mission Control Center in
Add sparkle to any design with glitter stickers by Sticker Mule. Glitter stickers are fun.
Launch control remained at the Cape, but after the launch
Appreciate that
of
again,
the
man.
tower, all aspects of the
See you
remaining
next time.
Gemini and Apollo flights were controlled from this complex. This would be NASA's first long-duration flight. An attempt was made to rendezvous with the Titan upper stage, but with little success and depleted fuel
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
the exercise was
Sounds good.
Above Australia, White and McDivitt donned their spacesuits and began depressurizing the capsule. Ed White had to struggle with his hatch door, which had jammed. But after attention from McDivitt, who understood the problem, it opened and White stepped outside.
Good afternoon. Rocketeer Tree 3,
15 miles southwest of the Bryce Canyon.
He was tethered to the spacecraft by an 8-meter line that fed him oxygen.
Las Vegas. Rocket 33.
To maneuver, he had a small zip gun that expelled oxygen. It worked well, but was soon running low on gas.
Hey.
Put a little roll in, take it right out.
A communication problem meant that while Mission Control could hear him, they could not speak to him. Messages had to be relayed via McDivitt.
8639, next point halt at 13,000 with you.
It all looked deceptively simple. But other than be outside, White had no real task to perform. Around the world, these pictures captured huge press attention.
I'd be like $1 million.
Right
I'd be
from its
scared as
inception,
hell.
NASA had made a commitment to openness. It was the one glaring difference between America and its Cold War adversary.
Rocket 33, descend via Blade 1 arrival.
Jim McDivitt
Vegas,
and Ed
altimeter
White
29
were both
78.
alumni of Michigan University, which held a ceremony for the astronauts when they were back on the ground. Although the Soviet Union may still be ahead in the space race, America was catching up, and the unfettered access NASA allowed the press meant that the Gemini program became a media phenomenon. For McDivitt and White, there followed the now regulation ceremonial at the White House.
25 left or 24 left.
Public support meant that lavish funding kept flowing, and the accelerated development of Apollo hardware continued behind the scenes. Booster testing of the Saturn I had concluded, and its direct descendant, the Saturn 1B, was being fabricated for several unmanned missions. It was earmarked for the first manned Apollo flight, scheduled for 1967. The giant C-5, now known as the Saturn V, was also being built. This was the rocket that would take men to the moon. Unlike the clustered tanks hastily pressed into service for the Saturn I, the Saturn V had larger, lighter single tanks, and it replaced the 8 H-1 engines with 5 much larger F-1 engines.
5 miles from GG, cleared out 25 left approach, coming Gully Tower 20.
Gemini 5 launched in August 1965. It was the first time a spacecraft had been powered by fuel cells rather than batteries. This would enable flights of much longer duration. But the system gave problems. In addition, the spacecraft's thrusters were unreliable. The crew of Gordon Cooper and Pete Conrad were forced to abandon a rendezvous exercise through diminished electrical supply and limited control of their craft. But Gemini 5 did set a new record for endurance. As Wally Schirra and Tom Stafford sat in their Gemini 6 spacecraft, an Atlas Agena on an adjacent pad was ready for launch. The Gemini capsule had been designed for docking, and in October 1965 they would make the first attempt to rendezvous and dock with the Agena target vehicle. The launch of the Agena was perfect, but shortly after stage separation, radar picked up 5 distinct objects. The craft had exploded. There was no point in proceeding with the mission. Scheduling for the Gemini program had been tight, with roughly 1 new launch every 6 weeks. There was no replacement Agena ready to launch before the next flight, Gemini 7. It was decided that Gemini 6, now called 6A, would rendezvous with Gemini 7, which would launch first. This would mean a very rapid turnaround between launches which used the same facilities. In December 1965, Frank Borman and Jim Lovell were preparing for NASA's longest duration mission yet. The plan called for a flight of 14 days, more than long enough for a return trip to the moon. The schedule called for Gemini 6A to launch 8 days later. Girard and Stafford had been through this exact procedure just 7 weeks earlier. There could be no faulty target vehicle to let them down.
Can you give me the identifier for that?
You're cleared for takeoff. Roger, adios. Minus 5, 4,
Number 1 Echo 5,
3,
Roger, do you want
2,
flight calling and
destination?
we're looking for Van Nuys.
A plug had released early, forcing an automatic shutdown. For the second time, Girard and Stafford had been unable to get off the ground.
Very good.
3 days later, Gemini 6A launched successfully.
Monaco Foxtrot, Roger, one more thing. Say aircraft type and altitude requested.
Within 6 hours, the two Geminis were side by side. Rendezvous was one of the difficult maneuvers that had to become routine before a realistic attempt at landing on the moon could be made.
Number 1 Echo Foxtrot.
Although the American public may not have appreciated the finer points of orbital mechanics, moving pictures of a spacecraft in orbit again roused huge media attention. Gemini 7 set a new record for time in orbit, but during the last few days the spacecraft had developed thruster problems.
Good afternoon, 15 Heavy,
The return to Earth was technically uneventful, though Borman and Lovell were weakened after 2 weeks in space. Astronauts were now greeted as returning heroes with intense press coverage. They were becoming celebrities. Next were two first-time astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Dave Scott. As mission commander, Neil Armstrong would be the first American civilian to go to space. Gemini 8 had a very busy flight plan. Docking still had not been achieved, and this flight was scheduled to rendezvous and dock with an Agena target vehicle that would launch an hour before the Gemini. This launch was perfect, and the crew of Gemini 8 were able to rendezvous and finally to dock with the target vehicle. But again there was a thruster problem, which sent the two docked craft into a spin. Armstrong separated the craft, but the weight increased. A Gemini yaw thruster was stuck on. Flight rules called for a prompt return. The destroyer Leonard F. Mason picked up the crew and their capsule from the Pacific, an ocean away from the planned recovery region.
29836. Monaco Foxtrot advised, ready for taxi.
On Gemini 9, Tom Stafford and Gene Cernan would try to achieve the objectives unmet by Gemini 8. Docking was still to be mastered, and as
This is a real B&H customer story. Whoa. Jack and Barbara, professional wildlife photographers and B&H customers.
as a substitute for the Agena target vehicle, a shorter unit, known as the Augmented Target Docking Adapter, was launched.
Roger, IFR cancellation received, squawk VFR frequency, change crew,
It achieved orbit, but there was a worrying light displayed on a console in mission control. When Stafford and Cernan caught up with their target, they saw the ascent shroud still in place. An argument between contractors meant the team that normally fitted the fairing was sidelined, resulting in what became known as the Angry Alligator. The target was useless, and Gemini 9 had nothing to dock with. In addition, a spacewalk by Cernan saw him exhausted and drenched in sweat with his helmet fogging.
I didn't know about
Tight
that.
deadlines laid down for the American space program were accelerating development. But was NASA courting disaster? A mission review committee was established to make certain objectives were realistic. Rendezvous and docking had been hampered by equipment failure, but mission planners were confident it would be mastered. The one outstanding problem facing the Gemini team was the spacewalk, or EVA, for extravehicular activity. After Ed White's joyride in space, it came as a surprise that it was so difficult to actually work in weightlessness. Practice for this activity on the ground had focused on a low-friction air table technique, but it was nothing like being weightless and in a vacuum. For brief periods in an aircraft traveling along a parabolic curve, an astronaut could experience weightlessness. This was difficult, but with only 3 more Gemini missions scheduled, it was felt to be of value.
Do you have an IF you want to take it from, like Barrett or Bakel?
In December 1966, John Young and Michael Collins on Gemini 10 had very similar mission objectives to the previous 2 Gemini flights.
Runway 28 right approach.
They successfully rendezvoused and docked with their Agena target. Then, using the Agena's engine, boosted their orbit to a new record high. The craft then rendezvoused with the spent Agena used by Gemini 8. Collins made 2 spacewalks, losing his camera in the process. As he made his way to the target craft, he found it difficult to gain purchase. He was suffering similar difficulties to his colleagues on previous flights. Gemini 11 had a 2-second launch window. Pete Conrad and Dick Gordon performed a direct ascent rendezvous just 94 minutes after launch. This was the type of rendezvous planned for the Apollo missions. They docked and undocked 4 times, giving NASA confidence in their rendezvous and docking ability. Then, using the Agena's engine, the linked craft achieved a record orbital high point of 1,300 kilometers. During EVA, Gordon attached a tether to the Agena as part of a gravitational experiment. But yet again, the process was exhausting compared with simulated exercises on the ground. NASA had just 1 more Gemini mission to iron out their EVA problems. Planners decided to try a new simulation in preparation for the EVAs scheduled for the final Gemini flight.
97, contact LA Tower 120.905.
Buzz Aldrin went through neutral buoyancy training at the McDonough School swimming pool near Baltimore. There would be new anchor points installed on both spacecraft. A waist tether was part of the new equipment. Astronauts had said they used too much energy just trying to maintain their position.
True.
As Jim Lovell and Buzz Aldrin walked to their launcher, they wore signs saying, "The end." The final Gemini mission was a big news event. The next space flight was to be Apollo 1, due for launch in February 1967. Though the flight plan called for the same rendezvous and docking as the previous 4 missions, each flight was about refinement of technique, particularly the way in which the guidance computer was being used. But the prime objective for Gemini 12 was EVA. Gemini 12 blasted off on the 11th of November 1966. Rendezvous and docking was straightforward, and so were the EVAs. Aldrin followed the new protocols with restraints and scheduled rest periods, and was able to use tools designed for Apollo. With Gemini 12, NASA was confident it had mastered the techniques needed for the challenging Apollo program.
What are you looking at me?
Charlie 24, clear for takeoff, on course approved. Clear for takeoff, on 24, on course approved. Thank you.
The Saturn 1B had made 2 unmanned flights with early versions of the Apollo command and service modules. Both were suborbital flights. Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee were slated as the crew for the first orbital mission, Apollo 1, with a Block 1 command module. In training for the mission, they were frustrated at the continuous changes being made to the Apollo spacecraft. It was the culmination of everything NASA had learned from the Mercury and Gemini programs, but it was not coming together easily. On January the 27th, 1967, the crew and support team were doing a plugs out test, a launch simulation where the craft was not connected by umbilicals.
Hotel Contact, Las Vegas approach.
As had been the case on all previous missions, they were breathing pure oxygen at slightly above atmospheric pressure. The Saturn 1B was not fueled and the tests were not regarded as dangerous. But a spike in voltage triggered a flash fire in the spacecraft, and in seconds the crew were dead.
FlexJet 555, runway 20, right clear to land.
Flammable materials and the pure oxygen atmosphere were a lethal combination. High pressure in the capsule made opening the inward swinging door difficult.
American 897, I've sent you to Harriet.
The United States was in mourning. Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee were buried with full military honors. Many at NASA had been dreading this kind of outcome. In a speech to colleagues at Mission Control, Flight Director Gene Kranz said, "We were too gung-ho about the schedule, and we locked out all of the problems we saw each day in our work." Manned flights were suspended. The space agency had to find out what went wrong and then completely redesign the capsule and mission procedures. All Apollo remnants were impounded, and NASA initiated an exhaustive investigation. Both houses of Congress also set up inquiries. Frank Borman was the only astronaut to serve on NASA's Accident Review Board. He was commander on his first mission, and he'd been selected to command the third manned Apollo mission, but there was a cloud over the whole program. Ultimately, Borman's testimony before a House committee helped convince Congress that the manned Apollo program was safe to resume operations.
Flying farmers around their land is the grounded path to air taxis of the future. Everyone thinks electric aircraft are the future of transportation. The air taxi market might be viable by 2030, but Rise Aerotech is flying today. And the U.S. agriculture industry is ready to invest billions, because modern farmers need a fast and efficient way to get around 900 million acres of farmland.
What?
They're already spending an estimated $52 billion on equipment every year. And with 200 public flights and $30 million in reservations, demand for recon is taking off. Invest in a company that's actually taking flight with Rise Aerotech.
What?
Outside the inquiries, NASA tried to maintain its focus.
What?
Astronauts who were experts in spaceflight were now being sent on field trips to learn about geology in preparation for the moon missions. Since 1964, the Soviet Union's space program had gone quiet. But in April 1967, news broke that Vladimir Komarov, flying in a new three-person spacecraft known as Soyuz 1, had failed to deploy its parachutes, killing the cosmonaut.
Damn, boy, they had 50% fatality rate.
Although in the United States, manned missions for 1967 had been put on hold, NASA was still busy. The new Saturn V was almost ready for its first flight. Its three stages and their engines had all been exhaustively tested on the ground. For flight testing, NASA had adopted a new all-up testing plan that worked in missile development. It involved more risk, but testing all stages together rather than on separate flights would save a lot of time. Intelligence reports were beginning to filter through that the Soviets were running their own lunar program to maintain their lead in what clearly was a race for the moon.
Liquid hydrogen tank.
The first Saturn V launch also marked the first use of the new Launch Control Complex at the Kennedy Space Center.
Shows where go at this time.
Originally scheduled for late 1966, developmental problems with the second stage pushed the launch out to November 1967. Not all managers were happy with the all-up test, but they realized that if everything worked, it would eliminate 4 launches.
We'll start at 8.9 seconds. We'll be looking.
There was a fear of a launch pad explosion. With 90% of the Saturn V's launch weight being highly explosive fuel, calculations had been made to understand the damage a low-altitude failure could create. A malfunction would have been catastrophic, almost certainly causing NASA to miss its 1969 deadline.
Ignition sequence starts. 5, 4, we have ignition. All engines are running. We have liftoff. We have liftoff at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Apollo 4 bristled with sensors and small film cameras. The cameras were sealed inside pods that were ejected after staging. Some of the most memorable images of the Apollo program come from these cameras observing stage separation. In the Gemini launches, the first stages had exploded after separation. Though this did not threaten missions, engineers wanted to understand everything that happened.
8,000 feet, climbing 190. American 1889 LA Center, hello, climb maintain flight level 280.
There were no surprises. The new Saturn V behaved exactly as its designers had intended.
302, we're ready for the descent.
That's a view.
Delta 302, descend.
The lunar module, a vital piece of the Apollo hardware, had suffered changes in design with resulting fabrication delays. Engineers began loosely basing their plans on helicopters, but the large windows were soon dispensed with because of their weight. The astronauts would have to stand close to tiny windows to see their landing place. Learning to fly a craft designed to land on the moon was not easy. At its Langley Research Center, NASA had built a lunar module simulator. It tried to recreate a lunar gravity environment so astronauts could practice the last 50 meters of their descent to the lunar surface. More popular with the astronauts was the Lunar Landing Research Vehicle and its offshoot.
Okay, I think it's flying time.
Los Angeles, that's Delta 1660, testing 10,000.
Delta 1660, LA Center, slow, climb maintain flight level 290.
Maintain flight level 290, Delta 1660.
November 1 Echo Foxtrot, what side of the airport are you parking on?
I think it's time to contact.
We're looking for Van Nuys, and if possible, we'd like to take 16 right to come in. 1 Echo Foxtrot, roger, enter straight in, runway 16 right. 16 right, thank you, sir, appreciate it.
LA Center, how's it going? American 1959 Heavy, Staffing 8,000 for 13.
American 1959 LA Center, climb maintain, flight level 410.
Flight level 410, American 1959.
LA Center, good afternoon. United 703 entering your airspace north of the Bakersfield VOR, flight level 370.
United 703, LA Center, hello.
Oh. Hello, Governor. QNH 1010.
Frontier 975 at Rumble, cleared RNAV Zulu, runway 26 left approach.
Yeah, Rumble clear, ILS
290 at 14.
ILS Zulu, 26 left approach, Frontier flight 975.
Correction, would you prefer 26 right?
26 left is fine.
Frontier 975, roger, that'll be the RNAV Zulu 26 left. You're cleared RNAV Zulu 26 left.
I have Zulu 26 left, Frontier Flight 975.
Center Juliet 420, 180 miles southeast of Las Vegas, at level 580 IFR, plus flight following.
Juliet 420, LA Center, you're still pretty deep into Albuquerque's airspace. I won't be able to tag you up for probably another 80 miles.
I guess he's happy with the squawk.
Juliet 420, we'll call back in another 80 miles. Thank you.
Number 9260 Delta, say again.
Yes, sir, the active runway is on the taxi to bunk.
60 Delta, roger, taxi to the ramp.
Alright, over to the ramp, go to the outfield.
1 Echo Foxtrot runway, 16 right, clear to land. 16 right, clear to land. Thank you, sir, 1 Echo Foxtrot.
LA Center, Delta 788, requesting to descend to flight level 320. I'm approaching the Argood Info 3 arrival into the Oakland airspace.
Delta 788, descend pilot's discretion, maintain flight level 320.
Going to 320, Delta 788.
What's going on over here? I don't want to fly the ATR through there. Well, short hops.
American 255, LA Center, we're here with Kia 072 for 190.
American 255, LA Center, climb, maintain flight level 340.
American 255, our plane had a hard time struggling to get up to that altitude last time. Is it alright if we maintain 260?
American 255, climb, maintain flight level 260.
I'm going to maintain 260, American 255.
Southwest 381, contact Denver Center 127.65, good day. American 8639, Albuquerque Center offline, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, yeah.
Albuquerque Center, frequency change approved, American 8639, thank you.
Delta 302, would you prefer 24 left or 25 left?
24 left, Delta 302.
Delta 302, roger. If circuit's cleared, ILS 24 left approach.
Circuit's cleared, the ILS 24 left, Delta 302.
Actually, LA Center, is Albuquerque still on? It's not showing it for me anymore.
Yeah, he's closed. Frequency change approved.
Unicom got it. 8639, thank you.
Southwest 790, clearing Santa Cruz, standby.
American 255, stepping away for a few.
Roger.
Good afternoon, LA Center. Skylanes November 647 Alpha Kilo requesting a flight following.
Number 647 Alpha Kilo, standby, 1 second.
Standing by, 7 Alpha Kilo.
7 Alpha Kilo, where are you calling from?
I believe we are just west of French Valley, Foxtrot 70.
Number 647 Alpha Kilo, roger. When able, say destination, aircraft type, and altitude requested.
We are in a Cessna 182 Skylane. We're going to Daggett, Kilo Delta Alpha Golf, and request 7,000 feet.
Number 647 Alpha Kilo, squawk 7335.
335 in the box, 7 Alpha Kilo.
7 Alpha calling LA, you were blocked. Delta 788 Oakland, center offline radar service terminated, frequency change approved, fit.
Take care, Delta 788, going to Utica.
Good afternoon, Los Angeles Center, Alaska 805 is checking on, 10 for 190.
Okay, that was totally blocked, got nothing on that. Last call on LA, sir. One at a time, please. Last call on LA Center, second.
LA Center, Alaska 805 is checking on.
Alaska 83, correction, Alaska 805, LA Center, climb maintain flight level 280, say altitude passing.
280, leaving 1,000, sorry, 12,500.
Alaska 805, roger. Okay, who else is calling?
LA Center, Tango Bike, Top Bravo, Mike 311, taking taxi destination KSGL.
Number 647 Alpha Kilo, radar contact 5 miles northeast of French Valley at 7,000 DFR on course approved.
7 Alpha Kilo, roger.
If you're calling on the ground at Scottsdale, Albuquerque Center is offline, frequency change approved.
Frequency change in Albuquerque?
No, they're offline. You'll be on Unicom.
Alright, thank you.
One Echo Foxtrot on the ground, exited Golf on via Alpha. Echo Foxtrot, join Alpha the RAN. Alpha the RAN, thank you, appreciate the service today, sir. Yep, see ya.
And Center, Alaska 805, just to confirm, you gave me 2
Center 3. Double 2. Bingo. All right, how are we looking on that?
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen. As you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination.
Yep, Lingen
now
at
would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for approach.
17,
If
good.
you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare to cabin for arrival.
Southwest 615, connect Denver Center 127.65, yeah.
I would Denver Center 127.65. See ya. Hey, great job today.
Oh, they put new camera views in. I think that's new.
Delta 1660, descend via Rounders 2 arrival, runway 1 left transition, Vegas altimeter 2978.
Rounders 2 Alpha, runway 01 left transition. I'm back.
American 255, we're back.
American 1889, ready for the descent.
American 1889, descend via Angel 4 arrival, LA altimeter 2982.
Descend via Angel 4 arrival, LA altimeter 2984 for American 1889.
That was 2982.
Alright.
2982.
Down we go.
Say again for the 1660 apologies.
Delta 1660, that's descend via Rounders 2 arrival, Las Vegas altimeter 2978, expect runway 1 left.
Rounders 2 arrival, send via the 1 left. Delta 1660.
LA Center, Southwest 1190, rapid taxi.
Southwest 790, runway 27, taxi via Bravo.
27 via Bravo, Southwest 1197.
Lufthansa 755, train altitude is 4,400, climbing altitude to 13,000, Lufthansa 755.
Lufthansa 765, LA Center, climb maintain, flight level 330.
330, Lufthansa 765.
Number 647, Alpha Kilo, Daggett altimeter 2976.
2976, 7 Oscar.
Frontier Flight 975, come across 26 right.
Frontier 975, affirmative, cross 26 right, join November to the ramp.
Cross 26 right, join November to the ramp, Frontier Flight 975.
Julia 420, flight level 581, 82 miles to the southeast of Vegas. IFR, request flight following.
Julia 420, LA Center's closing up in a few minutes, change back to advisory
No.
approved.
Switch to advisory, Julia 420, thank you.
American 255, would you like us to change over
Don't
to
say
advisory?
that.
American 255, affirmative, LA Center closing, radar service terminated, frequency change for sale.
Frequency change approved, thanks for the run of flight CC, American 255.
Delta 302, contact LA Tower 120.95.
LA Tower now, 2095. See you next time, Delta 302.
LA Center, Southwest 2731. Can we get an early handoff Unicom?
Southwest 2731, affirmative. LA Center's closing, radar service terminated. Frequency change approved, see ya.
Frequency change approved. See ya, have a good one.
American 1889, which runway you prefer?
1889, stand by for that.
Roger. You can expect either 24 left or 25 left.
Yeah, American 1889, we're going for 25 left.
American 1889, roger. At Circus, clear Dallas, runway 25 left approach.
At Circus, clear for Dallas, 25 left approach for American 1889.
Alaska 805, descend via Angel 4 arrival, LA altimeter 2982.
82. Excuse me, 82 on the altimeter and Angel 4 for Alaska 805.
Delta 1660, LA Center in Vegas, approach closing, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, goodbye. United 703, no traffic observed between you and San Diego Lindbergh Field, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, good night.
Over to Unicom for United 703, thanks, good night.
Good night, Delta 1660.
Lufthansa 765, LA Center closing, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, goodbye.
¿Cuánto es el décimo ahí, Lufthansa 765?
United 782, Oakland Center offline, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, yeah.
28 for United 782, thanks for service. See ya.
Southwest 3711, LA Center's closing, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, yeah.
Over to the dark side, Southwest 3711, have a good one.
Two 984. Alright, we're cruising in here. What's going on the East Coast? Alright, slow it down at Lantern. Have they done anything with Across the Pond yet? Did they close that down for interest? I think this is the wing view for tonight's replay. I think this is the view.
Cosmic Gate, wake your mind.
Okay, here we go. All right.
This is Milkwish and their new single African Rose before our Andy Digging collaboration. It's
Okay. So we're not gonna have any good visual representation. As soon as that looks good, I'm gonna hit it. Almost there. Ugh. It's not getting any better. All right, we're doing it. Oh, there is ground now. Lindbergh traffic, United 703 is turning on to the final approach course for runway 27 Lindbergh traffic. Lindbergh. All right, here we go. There's ground 123.9er. Flaps are all the way at 3 now. All right. You're down. I can't see anything. Get those armed. Ready for landing. Okay.
1000. $500 minimum. 300. 200. 200. 200. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Okay. Lindbergh ground, good evening, United 703, vacating runway on Bravo 8, requesting taxi to the A terminal.
United 703, Lindbergh ground, welcome to San Diego, taxi ramp via Bravo, thanks for flying.
Ramp via Bravo for United 703, thanks. Minus 136. Yeah, buddy. Boom. Welcome to San Diego. That's what I'm talking about right there, baby. We're here. What a success. All right, enjoy the replay, guys, and we will see you tomorrow. See ya. Bye.